Hello friends, this is Dr. Vijay Kumar. I am welcoming you all in my lecture on repeatability part 2. In the repeatability part 1 lecture, I discussed introduction and definition portion mainly. In this lecture, in the repeatability part 2, I will discuss misconception or myth attached with the repeatability concept, general features of repeatability, importance and usefulness of repeatability. Again, I will request you all, please see the description of this video for the links of lectures related to repeatability part 1, heritability part 1, heritability part 2, heritability part 3, breeding values and components of variances for continuity. Now come to the first part of this video, myth or misconceptions attached with the concept of repeatability. Similar to heritability, repeatability is also a population parameter, characteristics of a trait in a population. It is not used for an individual animal. Generally, people speak of repeatability of production of a dairy animal or repeatability of performance of racing horses, but it is not correct to use to particular horses repeatability for racing performance or a particular cow repeatability for milk production. Similar to heritability, repeatability is also not fixed. It varies from population to population and from environment to environment. Factors that affect heritability also affect repeatability in a similar manner. So I am requesting you all, please go and see the heritability video. There are 3 videos in heritability section. I have made 3 videos, heritability part 1, part 2 and part 3. Please go through those videos. In those videos, I explained all these things very thoroughly. I am not explaining all those things again here, so please go to the videos of heritability for making these things more clear. General characteristics of repeatability. Repeatability, like heritability, is not a biological constant. The meaning of this is repeatability is not fixed. Being a ratio, it can be changed due to changes in genetic, permanent environmental and temporary environmental component of variance. Repeatability may vary from one trait to another within the same population because differences in genetic, permanent and temporary environmental variances. Repeatability may vary from one population to the other for the same trait because of differences in genetic variance, permanent and temporary environmental variances. Repeatability, like heritability, is a population measure or it is a population parameter and is thus not a value to be associated with an individual. High repeatability for a trait does not mean that the animals will have exactly the same performance in the subsequent period. It means that animals that were better than the herd average in the first production period would tend to come consistently at the top in the subsequent period, irrespective of the average of the herd. This paragraph means if there is high repeatability for a trait, that means that if an animal is on the top of the herd, that particular animal is getting first rank out of all the animals, then in second lactation or in second production period, that animal will become on the top, and the lower animal, the lower producing animal will be in the bottom of the table or the list. Similarly, the animals that were near the bottom in the herd would perform much below the herd average in the subsequent period, and this is true in the case of high heritable traits. Importance and usefulness of repeatability. Repeatability is mainly used for making culling decisions. Repeatability of a trait can be useful in making culling decisions. Suppose in a farmer dairy cattle herd, he wants to cull poor producing animals. On the basis of performance of first lactation, compile a list of animals to be culled. Assume the first cow in the cull list, let's name her X, is a good in milk production, but she was slow in reproductive performance, which means her second lactation will be delayed. Now, understand what is the case. Suppose how repeatability is helping in making culling decision. Suppose there is a farmer, he has certain number of animal in his farm, in his dairy farm, and every farmer will have to cull some animal because every farmer has certain limitations. He has fixed resources. Using that resources, he can only maintain a fixed number of animals, so he will have to cull few animals. Now, how that farmer will cull, how he will make decision, repeatability helps here. Suppose he is making a list, he has some few number of animals, he is making a list on the basis of performance of the animal. He is making the first animal is on the top and the last animal is present in the bottom of that list. Now, how he will make culling decision, this I just want to explain to all my students. Now, in this case, the animal which we named X is a good in milk production. He is very good milk production. On the basis of first lactation, he is a good milk yielder. But she was slow in reproductive performance. But her reproductive performance is not very good. Her milk production ability in the first lactation is good, but her reproductive performance is not very good. This is the case. Now, see what he can do. So farmer want to cull her for this reason. Farmer want to cull X. The name of the animal is X for this reason. Her milk producing performance is good, but reproductive performance is not very good. But calving interval and service period, both measures of the ability of reproductive performance, are not very repeatable. Now, the role of repeatability concept is coming here. We know that reproductive fertility related traits and reproduction related traits having very low repeatability, and on the same time milk production related trait having comparatively higher repeatability. In other words, In other words, X, the name of the animal is X long interval between first and second lactation is not strong evidence that she will have long non-lactating period in the future. And why it is so? Because repeatability of reproductive trait is low. Repeatability of reproductive trait is low or less. So this poor performance in the first lactation is not conclusively giving an idea that her second lactation or subsequent performance will be poor. So farmer cannot take decision on the basis of first lactation reproductive performance. At the same time, her milk production ability was good and repeatability of milk production is comparatively higher. So the animal's X milk producing ability will be certainly higher in the subsequent generation, in the subsequent period, in the subsequent lactation. Her poor first record is not a strong indication that her reproductive performance is below average. So farmer can give her benefit of doubt and keep her. Any decision on X fat can be made after studying her subsequent performance. So any decision can be taken after looking 2-3 records, on the basis of 2-3 reproductive records. After studying all those things only, then only he can take a firm decision whether to keep that animal or to cull that animal. There is second animal, her name is Y. This Y is X contemporary, is also on the short list for culling. Now we will see what is the performance and what is the story behind this animal, Y animal. Y's reproductive ability is good. This animal Y's reproductive ability is good, but she is poor in milk production. But her milk producing ability is poor. As repeatability of lactation ability is high, farmer can cull Y. Here farmer can cull Y because animal's milk producing ability is poor, and we know that milk production related traits having higher repeatability. So if in the first lactation her milk producing ability is lower, then we can say that with comfort we can say that her second lactation, her third lactation, the performance in the second lactation, in the subsequent lactation will be lower. So farmer can cull Y. Given that high repeatability, Y's poor first lactation record indicates that her future milk production record will also be poor, and her producing ability for milk is below average. And when we will see the reproductive ability, her reproductive ability was good, but reproductive traits repeatability is lower. So we can't say in this subsequent lactation her reproductive ability, what will be her reproductive ability. Her reproductive ability may be poor in subsequent generation because repeatability of reproductive traits are not very high. Repeatability and approximation of heritability. This is the second use of repeatability. Repeatability sets an upper limit to heritability since it includes all types of genetic as well as permanent environmental influence which contribute to real differences among individuals. As we know, I just explained in the part 1 of the repeatability lecture this was explained in the last slide. Repeatability is the higher limit of heritability. So this is already explained. Therefore, whenever heritability of a character is not known, when heritability of a character is not known, its repeatability value, which is much easier to estimate. Estimation of repeatability value is much easier than heritability. It can be used instead of calculating the value of repeatability. If we don't have repeatability value, just take heritability value as repeatability value, because it is the upper limit of the heritability. So with the help of heritability we can, with the help of repeatability we can approximate heritability. Again I am repeating, with the help of repeatability value we can approximate heritability value. Repeatability and importance of first record. With the help of repeatability value, whether the value of repeatability is higher or low, we can say whether our first record is very important or not. The value of the repeatability indicates the extent to which a record on early performance can be taken as an indication of later performance. For example, when repeatability is very high, first record would tell almost whole story and selection on the basis of the first record in improving the overall performance of the population. If repeatability is higher, then first performance record is very important. On the basis of first record you can say what will be the future performance of the animal. On the other hand, if records are low repeatable, the first record would be only an indication, not very dependable, for later performance, and consequently selection on the basis of first record is not advisable. If repeatability is low, then on the basis of first record you can't take any decision. In that case you will have to wait for much more recording. 2-3 records you will need for making any firm decision. Estimation of most probable producing ability. With the help of repeatability we can estimate this MPPA, most probable producing ability. Here we will first understand what is this most probable producing ability. This concept was given by Luss, and the term was also given by Luss. The knowledge of repeatability, the term most probable producing ability was given by Luss. The knowledge of repeatability of a trait is used in the prediction of the future performance of an animal in the herd during his or her lifetime. The expected future performance of an animal has been referred to as most probable producing ability. Now we have a slight idea about most probable producing ability. Most probable producing ability is the expected future performance of animal, and with the help of repeatability we can estimate most probable producing ability. The term most probable producing ability was the first applied to milk production in dairy cattle, where it referred to the ability of the cow to produce milk. The term is now commonly used in all the livestock species for the trait that are repeated over time. First it was used for in the case of dairy animal only for milk production, but now it is used for all those traits which are repeated over time. Therefore, producing ability represent the potential of an animal for milk production in the case of cattle and buffalo, for wool production in the case of sheep, litter size in the case of pig, racing ability in the case of horse. Most probable producing ability is of special importance. It is very important for commercial animal producer who usually have limited facilities for maintenance of animals in the herd. Since each year a new crop of animals is added to the herd, the livestock producer has to cull certain fraction of old animals so as to improve the herd performance of the herd in subsequent period. This is very clear. I think you all understand. A farmer has a commercial animal producers have some limited facilities. They have limited space, limited resources for feeding animal. So this is compulsion. He will have to cull few animals, cull few old animals from their herd. So this MPPA, most probable producing ability concept, what is the future of the animal, how, whether the animal in the future, whether the animal is productive in the future or not. This prediction is very useful, and this prediction is made by the use of concept of MPPA, most probable producing ability, and this MPPA is estimated by the use of repeatability. The producers would like to keep only those animals that are expected to give high future performance in their lifetime. The selection of animals to be kept in the herd for future performance is based on computation of most probable producing ability. All these things were explained by me in earlier slide. This is the formula for the estimation of most probable producing ability. MPPA equal to herd average plus B under bracket animal average minus herd average, where B is a regression of future performance on animal past performance on the basis of B is regression. Generally B is, in a simple sense, it is a regression of future performance on past performance. This is the formula of B. Here N is number of records available and R is repeatability coefficient or value of repeatability. So this is the final formula, and in this way MPPA is depending upon these very factors: average performance of herd, average performance of animals, repeatability, and number of records. All these factors are affecting MPPA value, and this was the one of the use for calculating MPPA. This is the next use: number of records required for selection. On the basis of using the concept of repeatability, you can say how many records you need for making any firm decision about selection or culling. The magnitude of repeatability of a trait is an indicator of the extent to which an animal is likely to repeat its performance during subsequent periods in its life. For example, repeatability of milk fat percentage is very high. Fat percentage of a single lactation would be a reliable indicator of its potential for fat percentage in the subsequent lactation. So, as repeatability of fat percentage is very high, so on the basis of first record, on the basis of performance in the first record, you can say whether fat percentage will be high or low. So you can take decision with the help of only one record. A cow therefore can be selected on the basis of its fat percentage of the first lactation. On the other hand, repeatability of fertility trait is low. I already mentioned reproductive traits have low fertility. Repeatability of fertility trait is low, therefore fertility in first lactation would not be a reliable indicator of its genetic potential for fertility throughout its life. The trait having low repeatability on the basis of first record performance, you cannot tell about her lifetime performance. When the repeatability of a trait is low, selection of animals has to be based on more number of records. The knowledge of repeatability of a trait is useful in deciding about the number of records required before an animal can be selected for producing the progeny. In general, more number of records will be required to determine cow's genetic potential for low repeatability traits like calving interval than for highly repeatable traits like fat percentage. So this is the thumb rule. If your repeatability is low, then you will need so many records. If your repeatability is high, you need just one record. On the basis of one first record, you can say this animal will have this much, this animal having this much potential of production. And this is the differences between repeatability and heritability. For repeatability, it is the ratio of sum of genetic and permanent environmental variance to the total phenotypic variance. For heritability, it is the ratio of genetic variance to the phenotypic variance. This is broad sense heritability. Now for repeatability, it sets an upper limit to the heritability of a trait. For heritability, it usually has a lower value than repeatability of the trait. For repeatability, the most important use of repeatability is in computation of most probable producing ability, which is used for deciding whether or not an animal to be kept in the herd or not for future performance. The most important use for heritability, the most important use of narrow sense of heritability is the prediction of breeding values, genetic gain, and in choice of breeding and selection methods. For repeatability, prediction made by using repeatability refers to future performance of the individual. For heritability, prediction from heritability refers to the performance of progeny generation. For repeatability, it is calculated as the correlation between repeated records on the same animal. For heritability, it is estimated from the phenotypic resemblance between relatives. Now, for repeatability, estimation of repeatability is relatively easier as it does not require pedigree data. For heritability, estimation of heritability is much complicated as it requires large volume of pedigree data. So these are major differences between repeatability and heritability. So this is all for this repeatability topic. Again, I will say I almost completed population genetics lecture. So visit this channel. All these lectures are available on the channel. So, and I'm also requesting you all, please comment what type of topic you need to be made by me for your study. And one thing also I want to mention that please visit the comment section, because any modification, any clarification will appear in the comment section. So if there will be any sort of if you have any query, you put those query in the comment section. I will reply. If there is any modification in the lecture, if anything any more clarification is needed, then I will mention those things in the comment section. So please, when you are seeing my lecture, also go to the comment section and see whether there is any comment available on the comment section. Thanks for watching.